I have with me today my favorite naked sports bike. This is arguably one of the best naked bikes that you can buy anywhere. It's the amazing Yamaha MT10 SP. As you probably know, that MT stands for Master of Torque, and the MT10 is the top of the line Master of Torque offering from Yamaha. And if you want to experience the visceral feel of a cross-plane crankshaft, the MT10 is right there for you. Before we go any further, let's first do the numbers. It's the same engine as its super sports superbike sibling, the Yamaha R1, with an inline-4 998cc double overhead cam with 16 valves, liquid-cooled engine giving out 164 bhp at 11,500 rpm and 112 newton meters of torque, or 83 foot-pounds at 9,000 rpm. Now the torque number may not seem very high, but it gets activated at very low revs due to the nature of the cross-plane crankshaft and the uneven firing order. Wet weight is 210 kilos or 462 pounds. That is a pretty light motorcycle. The fuel tank holds 17 liters or 4.49 US gallons, and you can ride for 350 kilometers or 220 miles before it runs dry. But I would not advise you to run it dry. Spirited riding will of course give you lesser mileage, but for a bike like this, do you really care about mileage? Unless you're out in the desert and you wish you had more range. In the front you have 320mm double disc and a 220mm disc at the rear. ABS is standard, more on that later. The MT10 can easily reach a top speed of 280 km an hour or 175 miles an hour. It can do a 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds in first gear alone. In fact, it would get ahead of the R1 straight off the blocks. At about this point, the R1 would be behind and the MT10 would be ahead. That is where the torque comes into play. The talking point of this motorcycle is the Öhlins semi-active electronic suspension. The MT10 SP comes with a 6-axis inertial measurement unit, the IMU, with a plethora of sensors all over the motorcycle. The semi-active suspension comes with 3 modes dialed in: A1, A2 and A3. The A1 mode is for track, hence it is rather stiff. The A2 mode is for regular roads, a little softer. And the A3 mode is for highway cruising. The IMU and the sensors on the MT10 actuate the rebound and compression instantly depending on the situation. It stiffens up the front fork under heavy braking to avoid diving and firms up the rear shock under hard acceleration, also taking into account the inputs from lean angle, speed, etc. And if you're not satisfied with the suspension presets that the MT10 comes with, you can manually dial in your personal customized suspension settings with 3 different manual settings as M1, M2 and M3. You'll not be disappointed with the flexibility of the suspension of the MT10 SP. Coming back to the brakes, even though they are not Brembos, they have excellent bite and come equipped with steel braided lines giving excellent feedback. What enhances the feedback even further is a radially mounted master cylinder. ABS is standard and works in conjunction with the IMU to give you regular ABS and lean angle sensitive ABS, also available in 2 modes that you can control from the TFT dash. Let's talk about the special features on the MT10. Man, there's so much in this bike that it can be a little daunting at first, and it will be beyond the scope of this video. Let me give you a quick gist. The MT10 comes with a 4.2-inch full-color TFT dash wherein you can dial in your preferences. It is pretty similar to the R1 dash with some differences in the layout. You get 4 rider modes, with mode D being fast, going up faster, fastest, to mode A, which I call the beast mode. Each rider mode comes with 4 power maps that you can select from, 4 being the least responsive to the throttle opening. You can also regulate the level of traction control that you want from the MT10, which also gets inputs from the IMU and gives you lean angle traction control. The higher the number that you choose, the more is the intervention by the machine. Lower number means lesser traction control. You can also switch it off. You also get lift or wheelie control, slide control, and engine braking management, all of which you can regulate through the TFT dash. The higher the number of the engine braking, the harder the machine will slow down as you close down the throttle. The quick shifter is really good, comes in handy if you're applying to improve lap times. You need to be going at least at 20 km an hour and higher than 2200 RPM to upshift. And it has to be at 2000 RPM at least for downshifts. Let me show you how I sit on the MT10. I'm 165 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. I sit very comfortably on the motorcycle. It is extremely ergonomic. I have no issues reaching the ground on either side. And it feels much easier to actually sit on than it looks. The motorcycle looks intimidating, but once you're on it, you'll be fine. It is easy to maneuver, easy to ride, and really quick. The seat itself is soft textured and you will stick to it. And you can spend long days on the saddle without getting a sore. The MT10 SP version retails currently at $16,999, which is actually $2,500 more than the regular MT10. Is it worth the upgrade for just the Öhlins suspension? Absolutely. What is negative with the MT10 SP? Not much really, but I have 3 words of caution. First, this is not a beginner's motorcycle. I cannot stress this enough, but you cannot use this motorcycle to learn how to ride even at mode D and the power setting at 4. If you want to learn riding, go get a smaller bike. Second word of caution, the MT10 SP comes with a plethora of riding aids, slide control, cornering ABS, cornering traction control, and so on. However, that does not mean that these aids will prevent the rider from crashing on low side or a high side if you're coming in too hot or if the surface does not grip well. It is finally totally up to the rider how to best control the motorcycle in the circumstance that he is in. Third word of caution, the TFT dash and the switch gear and the controls can be quite daunting. You will need to study the owner's manual thoroughly, understand how to dial the settings in, and make the motorcycle work best for you. It is a learning curve. What is the competition of this motorcycle? I must mention the Super Duke R from KTM. That is an absolute beast. Maybe I should make a comparison video between the MT10 SP and the beast from KTM. The Yamaha MT10 is a charismatic bike with an amazing exhaust note and a character that few other motorcycles can match. Do you realize how incredible this motorcycle is? I simply love it. Do let me know your comments in the comment section down below. What is your favorite big naked motorcycle? And I'll be replying to your comments. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Until then, ride safe.